us to go through it with knowledge and understanding. First thing to understand in this journey of the Eastern wisdom, that as a teacher of the Eastern wisdom, they have to study lot of different discipline to teach and guide. So there are basically 6 organs of Indian philosophy. We say Sankhya and Yoga, that is one pair. Nyaya and Vaisheshik, that is another pair. So Nyaya and Vaisheshik, they teach us how to put the logic, reasoning based on the reality, so that the mind can drop the ignorance. Mind can really drop the ignorance. And then comes the real teaching that we have been continuing for so many years. So basically, what my master used to say, for a seeker, the trust deficit is there, the belief that faith by the mind on the knowledge and the principles of Eastern wisdom is lacking. You have 100% faith in the mind, fraction of a second, you are already there. That is what Ashtavakra said. That is why I covered the Ashtavakra. I wanted to take up this journey. So he says that your mind has 100% faith, not in the teacher, but in the knowledge. You are already there in the very first session. So now put the logic. So teacher has to learn how to put the logic in a systematic manner to help the seeker. The seeker does not need it. Seeker only needs 100% faith in the knowledge, not in the teacher also. So, but now the next question arises. You see that I put the question and answer in a sequential manner. So why it is so? Because the mind has 99% trust in the false I. And it raises the doubt. It raises the doubt to prove that the false I is right. You have raised a lot of questions. After all, there is an I. So I thought now we will go to one of the highest teachings by this master. So now the next question arises that why the mind has a trust deficit? The false I causes a lot of impurities. And that impurity hides the real self. So that hiding the real self is a veiling power of the mind, that is ignorance. Second problem is the impurity. And third is the mind is not able to keep its focus on the real self or even examining the false I. So that is distraction. So there is a lack of focus. Oh, so we have to deal with these 3 problems. So these 3 problems of the mind causes, declares that you are worthy of suffering. You have lot of problem, and to find the solution, they go to another problem. They see the problem is a solution, but it is not. Locus of the problem is in the mind. That mind is functioning, guided, and dictated by the 3 problems. So they want to find the solution through these three problems. No. Explain me by example. I already gave an example of this guy who is divorced and paying $20,000, and that divorcee already went to the Moscow or Mexico. She is enjoying $20,000, doing nothing with the two daughters. So I created another problem that I find is a solution. $20,000 means in the modern world, anywhere, including the US, is not a small money. But because he put that his business is couple of millions of dollars and then divorced and then you have to pay 20,000. So you are known as a wonderful, successful businessman. You had a big ego and you drive the best cars and the best houses, etc., etc. And now one problem you solve by another problem, and now you cannot stop it. Simple. You cannot stop. The law is so strict here. The moment you stop, they will put you in the prison. And then your business is gone. Anyhow, so that is, so couple of introductory sessions are required, and then we will go directly what the teacher is, this master is saying, and how this master takes us to the journey. One thing more about that this master, maybe around the age of 25, 26, he had studied with an intense desire uh, all the Upanishads, Gita, and all the major texts. Then he was absorbed into meditation, awakened and realized. Then he thought that not many people can study all the major texts, cannot study the grammar, cannot understand the Sanskrit language. So he wrote the book in Hindi, in a dialectical Hindi around 200 years ago. And he proposed that not everybody can really study all these texts. I have studied it, I have reached to that state, and that is why I am writing a book for the benefit of seekers. He clearly said, for the benefit of the seekers who are not on the top, who are not the least. You know, when you are the lowest seeker, you do the practice once, and after a year again you come back and do the practice. So that mediocre, the middle level of a seeker, is still keeping in the mind that I want to reach to that state. Highest level of a seeker you have already reached to that state. So he focused on this journey. Then there is a problem that how to bring all these teachings in a systematic manner. So he converted all the teachings into 7 chapters. Every chapter has different topics. And he called this book as a Vichar Sagar. He said it's an Vichar Sagar, an ocean of wisdom. And then he said, waves are nothing but the 7 chapters. And every wave has ripples, smaller ripples. So those ripples are the topics. It's a beautiful way to put it. And he said those who are the mediocre seekers, middle level of the seekers, whose mind is still guided by these 3 problems, can definitely be resolved. and he answered all the doubts and the questions of this journey of the Eastern wisdom. So, first we'll have some introductory topics and then we will pick up directly what he says, what is the topic number one, two, three, like this. So, for a sake of revision, what is the common aspiration or a desire behind all the desires, thought, effort, and action? The way we think, we speak, and act in our life daily. Behind all the desires, the common desire is peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. My mind understands that if I live in the truth, there is a sense of fearlessness, but the false I returns and it manipulates. Behind all crimes, violence, hatred, jealousy, there is a desire for peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom. Behind all our thoughts and actions, there is one motivation for peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. I want peace in the morning. I want peace in the afternoon. I want peace in the evening. I don't want to lose that sense of the peace and the calmness in any location, with anyone, in any relation, in any profession, in any occupation, at any time. That desire does not remain permanent in my mind. My mind moves, oh, pasta, I like this pasta, it's very good. And I forget that this pleasure is basically a manifestation of the real self. It is not present in the pasta. It is not present in the sexual pleasure. It is not present in having a heavy bank account. It is not present in the clothes that I wear. It is not present in the car. I forget it. Even for a second I forget it, the mind takes over me. So the goal behind all the thoughts, all my efforts, all my feelings, it is permanent peace, permanent happiness, permanent love, permanent wisdom. We earn money to enjoy, to be happy, to relate to someone with love and care, and expect the same from others. And that expectation is causing the problem. So I am using peace, the happiness, as a means, not as a goals. So that puts me into all kinds of action in my family life, in my personal life, in my professional life. Yes, you are a good employee. I will give you the incentive. But that now, that employee is spoon feeding you, but he's not doing any work. But I enjoy. I don't see what is the reality. I don't examine. Why? Because I want that happiness should continue. But the moment I give little more to the guy who is exploiting me selfishly, is going to harm me in the future. Same thing happens in any relationship, whether it's a relationship between husband and wife, between employee and employer, between mother and son, between anyone, between. So we miss the what is the goal and what are the means. So the false I declares that the goals are nothing but the means and the means are nothing but the goals. When the means are the goal, We know money cannot buy happiness. Still, money is the goal, happiness is not the goal. So we interchange, the false I interchange it. We need it, it's a fact. Without money, how can I survive? His body cannot survive. But the peace and happiness comes from somewhere else. But the mind, by thought, by feeling, by ignorance, by crime, by violence, by expectation, turns around. And it works at the subtler level first, and then it rationalizes the same way, the same example that I told you. I will divorce, I'll be happy. And are you happy? So he wrote to me that I will contact you after 2 months and then we will have a session. I said, very good. After 2 months. Now, he was paying a good money, but it's okay, it's a part of the life. So every month, I send a message that, are you okay? Do you remember, are you not worthy of suffering? And then I get a response after 2 weeks. Yes, I remember. I said, okay, after 2 weeks you remember. You don't have a time to realize what you're doing. It's okay, it's a part of the life. But because you have made a contact with me, so I just want to invest in relationship. So why I send the email? So third point comes that the Eastern wisdom says that you have to understand it first clearly. You have to realize it in the intellect, and then you have to reset the journey of life daily. Goal should remain the goal, and the means should remain the means. Come what may, in any difficult situation, in pleasurable situation, my goal should remain the goal. It should not become the means. I know through the intellect that money cannot buy the happiness, and still the money is the goal to secure happiness. That I should reset. Happiness is different from anything in the world, and from any relationship, from any challenges that we face, from any problems. Now he is facing more problem. It's a big challenging to pay $20,000 every month. It's a bigger challenge than the divorce. And I understand he must be thinking about it. That I should have expanded my business. How much you can spend in a month? Maximum $5,000 to $6,000, maybe $10,000, even in US. So it is because that I just turn around. Goals have become the means, and the means have become the goals. It must be. So ask the next question. Will be very logical. Ask the next question that why this has happened. Why this has happened even after understanding. The intellect has understood it, but the mind does not accept it fully. So why the mind does not accept it fully? Because there is a trust deficit. The mind does not believe what the intellect says and understood. So there is a conflict between the two, and that results into anger, hesitation, reaction, duality, conflict, and confusion. So I must ask, what is all happening in the mind? Mind, why are you not calm? You have everything. So because it is not calm, it claims it is worthy of suffering. So why it is worthy of suffering? So we keep your focus only on the three aspects: the impurity in the mind, distractions, and the third is the ignorance. Impurity of the mind comes from the desire, expectation that the peace will be the outcome. If I do this activity, if I earn this much, if I relate myself with this person like this, the distraction, because the mind keeps on changing. It changes its priorities, it changes its perception, it changes its feeling. Yeah, taking care of the honey and taking care. 5 years have passed now. What should I do? Let's leave her the way she is doing. Why I say I leave her? Because I have the same expectation that is continuing. I have not been able to reset with the knowledge that the Eastern wisdom provides you. And then I have a frustration within my mind. And other is enjoying. Oh, that is my nature. What should I do? So we should be very vigilant, aware. We should be very clear. These three factors give rise to millions of factors: impurity, distraction, and ignorance. Normally we say mal, impurity; distraction we say vikshepa. We will talk about it. Distraction comes because of the projection of peace and happiness outside. That is why I have a wandering mind. Wandering mind has no meaning at all. No meaning. Only meaning is that the mind with the hundreds of the thoughts is projecting peace and happiness outside. That is why the mind is wandering. The intellect has understood it, but the mind does not understand. Why it does not understand? It does not have 100% knowledge in the Eastern knowledge of the Eastern wisdom. How to live my business life. Many people say that business is different, personal life is different. So from where the personal, professional, social, family life comes from you. You are only one. Oh no, but I am a different I in the business. I am a different only in expression, but internally only one I. You have created many I, that is causing the distraction. I'm giving some ideas from this teachings of this master in these introductory lessons, and then we will solve it. And the third is the ignorance. Ignorance means misunderstanding, error in perception. What is error in perception? That false I is the real I. One, ignorance. Another is the false I is the only I. There is no other I exist. That is also error in perception. So I want to solve all the problems with the false I. The problem cannot solve the problem, and ultimately we fall back. We are frustrated, we fail, we have a lot of issues and challenges in our life. Otherwise, there is no challenge in life. Where is the challenge? You are sitting here, where is the challenge? Thought gives you the challenge. So what is in a thought? That the thought has a content of impurity, challenge. Distraction, challenge. Ignorance, challenge. Clarity is how much clarity this master has. It blows my mind that he has studied at the age of the 26 years. He did everything, and then he started writing. Then people asked him that why you have written this book. Already many books are available. Gita is available. Upanishads are there. So he answered that not everyone can study Sanskrit. Not everyone can spend so much of time in the logic to study their logic. Not everyone can study the grammar. Not everyone is capable enough to express. It is not there in their domain. I made it very simple. The master says I made it very simple, and that's why I wrote this text in Hindi, in a local language. I didn't use even the Sanskrit. So I'm just using a couple of his phrases during these introductory lessons. So what is that impurity of the mind? So there are many ways to understand. Many topics will come from his teaching, and I'm bridging it for the sake of understanding so that we will not remain unaware of that. Anything that engages the mind in anxiety, duality, conflict is impurity. Whether it comes as a thought, as a feeling, as a perception, and that results in stress and suffering, dissatisfaction, unhappiness, insecurity, fear. Now, when I go for an evening walk with my dog and I feel that someone will crush my dog, and then I have a fear, I return home. One of my students told me. Did it happen in the last 3 months? No, it did not happen, but I have a feeling. Link it to the impurity, link it to the distraction or wandering mind, link it to the ignorance. We do not realize. When we do not realize, then you go to a psychiatrist or a counselor or you come to me. Because you are following the same pattern in the mind that you have claimed is the only thing. So fear cannot be removed unless you change your perception. How do you change that perception? That belief, that trust in the mind is not there. But why the trust and fear is not there? You see that, I'm just teaching with the logic and the reasoning. Many people forget that, Eastern wisdom is all about belief, go there, worship this guru and worship this uh, god and goddesses and do this kundalini. Nothing of that sort works in the end. Only understanding works. So what the master says, you don't have a fear of the known. You only have a fear of unknown. And that is ignorance. You know your wife, you know your kids, you know your employees, you don't have. The fear of known is not there. Except you know that this employee may manipulate. So you are careful. Fear of the unknown. Why the fear of unknown? Because my mind lives in ignorance. But why mind lives in ignorance? Because it is error in perception. So this master goes back again and again and reminds us that I have to maintain my level of awareness with reference to living, thinking, speaking, and acting my daily life. I must question, I was in peace in the morning, why I am not in peace in the afternoon. And then I should blame impurity, ignorance, distraction, and then I should go and examine my thought pattern, my action, and I should remove all of them to return to the peace. When you return to the peace, what it means? It is mindfulness. When? Even in thinking, speaking, and acting. You don't need to close your eyes to do practice meditation. My master used to say, beautiful. You see that? In order to see the word, you use all the sense organ. And in order to see yourself, you have to close your eyes. Are you making fun of yourself? Use everything to know yourself. Why you close your eyes? Why you want to shut off your ears? You cannot find that emptiness. Emptiness is here and now. So, in line with my master, he taught at this. So, what happens to the mind again? That again coming to the same question, our common aspiration, desire is peace, happiness, love, and wisdom. Then ask the why we have that, why we are seeking peace and happiness. It is since birth we have been seeking peace and happiness, love and wisdom. Without learning anything, without going into the Eastern wisdom, without practicing meditation. By thinking, by speaking and acting, I'm always seeking that peace. But why? Simple answer. Those who have not studied Eastern wisdom, they will say, why? Why you're asking why? Because it keeps me away from frustration, anxiety, fear, stress, and suffering. That's a good answer. But the second answer is more important because peace is my essential nature. That's why I have been seeking since my birth. Even the child, when I was born as a baby, I cried, and mother came and changed the wet bed. I'm still seeking peace. I didn't know. My mind is not yet developed. It means there is something in me. I have to find it out. What is that which is seeking peace even when the mind is not yet developed, not have started desiring anything in the world, not having any expectation? I started crying and the mother fed me the milk. So my language was crying. It was very virgin simple. So Master, the Eastern wisdom says it means that peace, that happiness, that love, and that wisdom is nothing but is your essential nature. That is what is your real I. That is why we have to do the self discovery. I think last time I gave you that track number 1, 2, 3 practice.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
But yeah, I understand in track number one, two, three, and like the seer number one, seer number two, and seer number three.
Yes, 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 yes. And the track it means you have a highway, 3 lanes are there. It will continue to be there. Only am I capable to change the lane from the track number 1 and 2 and live into the track number 3 is done. That track number 1 and 2 will continue to be there. That's why we say the life is nothing but learning every time. So we are learning. And after learning, after having that knowledge, we respond. Track number 1 will continue to be there because the senses and the mind, we cannot get rid of it. Senses have a limited perception. But the very suffering that is there will be absent. Otherwise, I cannot do any transaction in the world. Sense and the mind are required. The lane 1 and 2 is required to do all kinds of transaction, to learn, to act. That is the third point of understanding. Now see another struggle that comes. You have told me, the masters have told us that that is my essential nature, but I see every day that essential nature is different from what I experience every day. I experience every day a sense of conflict and duality. And you are saying your nature is real self. So there is always a contradiction. 99.999% I'm always in sense of conflict by thought, speech, and action, and you are saying your nature is real self. Problem of belief is there. Because the mind is a heavily conditioned culturally, socially, professionally, family wise, relations. That is one reason. Second reason, that my mind and the sense organ says, I see the mouse here, but I don't see the piece here. Because I'm so much engaged and involved in ignorance with the physical objects outside that this mind dares to believe that there is something like a pure consciousness, formless, in me. Why? Because the mind has yet to trust. Why the mind does not trust? The same answer. Intellect says, I have understood you. Seer number 1, 2, 3 is there, but what to do with the mind? Even for sitting and listening to you demands a comfort at the physical level, and that engages my sense organs and the mind. How dare you say that there is some real self inside? So the master again goes back. It is because of the ignorance. Sit down, listen, learn, reflect. Let the mind remove all the doubts about it. See that? Not very difficult. So Eastern wisdom shows the path. It shows the path that we should keep on asking the question, to challenge the mind, to remove the ignorance, impurity, and distraction, to find the real self. Is there anything in the human life that is pessimistic and suffering? Can we analyze? The answer is no, but we feel it. So that then there is a contradiction between the false I and the real I. So until I resolve that conflict, I see the false I is the apparent I and use it for transacting in the world and continue to live with the real I. Does any of our experiences are true or it is caused by the desire? Am I my own experiences or I am different and separate from my all the experiences including the thought, feeling? An answer is yes, I am different and separate, but the mind says no. When the thought of a stress comes, then the mind says I am in stress. Why don't we say that mind is in stress? I am separate from it. That is why I am able to recognize that I have a stress. Stress is an object. It is seen. I forget it. Why I forget it? Impurity, ignorance, and distraction. Nothing else is there in this world. Another way that then why the frustration, unhappiness are they real? We must inquire. So the master simply says, teaching of the Eastern wisdom is say inquire, examine whether pessimism is there, frustration is there, stress is there, suffering is there, or not in the life. So when we examine, we find they do not exist. That is what he is going to talk in detail by the different topics. Then why I experience? If they exist, then peace and happiness are not our essential nature. So now see what the master puts the logic. Again I'm repeating that what I'm repeating, that frustration, failure, stress and suffering, I experience it. That's no doubt about it, that I experience it. So if I experience, then master challenges, do they really exist? So if the answer you said, if they exist, then the peace and happiness are not my essential nature. It's so simple. Essential means it remains forever. So the master proves that fact is that we are not worthy of suffering. They appear to exist, but they do not exist. We have to reach to that state of conviction, 100%. They appear to exist like the wave in the water, like the mirage water in the mirage, like the blueness of the sky, and they go on giving the examples. Ignorance appears to exist, but it does not. If the ignorance is permanent, you cannot get out of the ignorance. So I don't examine. Why I don't examine? Because I have a wrong notion. Why I have a wrong notion? Because my mind is full of expectations of peace and happiness from outside. Again, go back: ignorance, impurity, and distraction. So, Master says only one thing: remove the ignorance, and you are. When I have removed by saying that is the neighbor's house, so this is my house. What is left is my house. So, removing is not a physical act or a mental act of suppression. Removing simply means I recognize that this is not me. I recognize this stress is not me, suffering is not me, then where is the suffering? No, my mind is yet to, it has lot of doubts. Really? So when you say I know you, it also means I am conscious of you? Yes. Without being conscious, I don't know anything. Without being conscious, I don't know anything. So when I wake up in the morning, I know I am a waker. I go to the restroom, I know I am going to the restroom, going to the kitchen, I am going to the business, I am driving I know lot of things. My house, my washroom, my clothes, my bathing, so I know you are conscious. That is why you are consciousness. For any activity that you do, you are conscious. That simply means you know it. That simply means if you are conscious and you know, you are consciousness. I cannot experience peace and happiness, love and wisdom if I am not conscious. I cannot experience that I have $1 billion in my bank account if I'm not conscious. Use anything, any statement that you know. You know you are conscious, hence you are consciousness. Master say, no, but I don't recognize because of impurity, ignorance, and that is what the journey of the self-discovery, that is what the journey of the mindfulness, that is what the journey of awakening. By simply understanding, that is why we say mindfulness is a non-practice. Every day, nature, existence teaches us. It warns. It says, here is a way to live. But our mind, due to the ignorance, impurity, and the distraction, changes the direction. Don't you know that you are my wife and you are doing this, acting like this? Can you find out where is the wife? Can you tell me where is the body? You see, this will continue to exist. Where is the body? Here it is. No, it is your forehead. Where is the body? This is your cheek. Where is the body? This is your chest. So one definition of the false I is that it appears to exist, but when you analyze and understand, it does not exist. Body does not exist. What is mind? Mind is a group of the thoughts. So if there is no thought, there is no mind. Yes, there is no mind. Wave exists, yes, but if I examine what is the wave? Wave is water. Do you see the supra-intellectual approach? My master used to say that if the science believes in 100% reasoning, we believe in 200% reasoning. To help believe the mind that what you are doing is wrong. And once that is done, the mind is empty now. Now you don't need any logic. Look at it. Look at the way we are conscious living being. We have a free intellect. So from there they have concluded. From there, the masters have concluded that we see we have a free intellect. The tiger cannot learn anything, barring few things. So the tiger can only learn by the food. The dog, our pet, can only learn by giving him the instinctual response. I can learn without instinctual response. That is why we have a free intellect. That is why we have a free will. So Master says, why don't you use the free will? Why don't you put first you have a right to receive the knowledge with an apt attention, with a focus, without any impurity in the mind. So it means the trust is there, and then you act on it. You're done. So what happens, the same lane number one or the false I in the mind returns and it says, I want to live into the same habit of stress and suffering. We go on repeating it and expecting a different result. It will never come. I added a lot of smaller principles that we will deal in detail in this journey. Every experience is temporary. Look at one examination. I'm giving you the picture how this master uh, wants us to keep our intellect open, examine, explore, and then ask the mind to listen to it, to follow. Then he comes with another big statement that is in the Upanishad. All acts and efforts are done by the human being. This is an introductory session about this teaching, so I must saturate your mind the way this master asks us to follow. So all acts and efforts by the human being to receive peace, happiness, love, and wisdom, all efforts are done because of that. But no action, no effort can result into permanent peace and happiness. If you say, I practice meditation daily for 1 hour, does that state of peace and happiness after the meditation lasts for 23 hours? Answer is no. So the very action cannot result into awakening. Only the knowledge can result into awakening. Act is guided by a false I. How can it result into a real self? But then we have to do the practice. Yes, we have to do the practice. But why we have to do the practice? Are you not contradicting? No, I'm not contradicting. Because as long as the impurity is there, it comes to the false side. You have to use another false side to cut it. That is why we do the practice. So practice is only done to remove the false I in a different dimension. You are using another dimension. When the practice comes to an end, then what happens? Only the knowledge remains. All knowledge is consciousness, and consciousness is what we are. Now, this mind is not at all going anywhere. Why it is not going anywhere? In ignorance and impurity. Otherwise, the mind will continue to do all the transactions of the world. You will definitely return home and you say, "Oh, honey, how are you?" Yes, that's okay. But internally, you are fully aware. As such, the honey does not exist. Why? Because as such, the body does not exist. Why the body does not exist? It's a false notion. Why the body does not exist? Because it does not have any independent existence. Why? It is made up of so much carbohydrate, protein, and other stuff. It does not have an independent. That is another definition of the false I. False means it does not have an independent existence. It appears true, but it is not true. And third, it is constantly changing. And fourth is a magic. Fourth definition of the false is, what is the fourth? You cannot prove that it exists, and you cannot disapprove that it does not exist. I see you, that I see your body. How can you say it does not exist? But what I have seen last time, you are not the same body. It's constantly changing. It is not independent. Oh, that is what you say the definition of false or ignorance or delusion. Yes, we are living in a delusion. The entire world is a delusion. So should I leave it and destroy it? No. You cannot leave it, you cannot destroy it. But why? This will continue to exist. Only thing that I am fully aware this is not me and this is me. Otherwise, no master could have written any text. No master could have passed this knowledge. It is because of that it coexists. Real self and the false self coexist. I have only to see that this is me and this is not me. So
Yeah,
those people who wants to destroy the mind by or wants to have more energy by kundalini meditation or by mantra. So Upanishad says that you can do it. Check. Are you living at a higher level of awareness and you can recognize, you can understand it, you are not required. But when you do not understand, a small pain, mind makes it so big. Do it. Because your intellect is also not understanding, then keep on doing it. Until you reach to a knowledge and awareness that I am not the body, then you don't need it. When I recognize that I am not the body, it is done. Then all the experiences takes place in the mind and the body. And I see the body is false. Then what I have to do with those experiences that is happening in the body? It may be a beautiful experiences. You can take ecstasy pill, you can drug yourself. You have the same experiences. more or less the same experiences. So why you are running after the experiences? I covered a couple of topics. You have to listen to it, and maybe you can just have a note that pick up, oh, this principle, this principle, this principle, so that anytime you need not to spend an hour to revise. So anytime you can become aware of those